Oh, yeah? What was my coach talking about?
Where's the IAG? Where's the IAG?
He was explaining why there is no podcast.
Where's the IAG?
He was promising to do a sit-down. He was going to do a sit-down podcast with the family in the future, once a week or once a month. But in the meantime, he's going to be walking. He's going to be talking. He's going to be ranting on his own. He's going to be giving us more and more of Tim and not so much a podcast. Okay, all right. So what was he talking about on this one? Oh, yeah? He's talking about addiction? What type of addiction? The addiction where you kick down your mama's door? The addiction where you snort stuff? Where you inject stuff? Where you buy stuff? Sell stuff? The type of addiction that gets you locked up? The type of addiction that leads you to rob folk? Gets you sentenced? Addiction that gets you prison time? What does it get you? 14 years? 6 to 7 years commuted sentence? Is that the type of addiction that he was talking about? Oh, no? Which addiction was he talking about? Oh, he's talking about addiction to the Bible? As a former addict? As an ex-addict? He's using the addiction terminology? Even though he knows or he claims to know how powerful words are? He's talking about addiction? I've never heard anybody talk about addiction as it relates to the word of God. I've heard about people talk about being committed. Maybe he's talking about being committed to the word of God. He's talking about being committed to reading your Bible daily or reading your Bible twice per day. Maybe he's talking about people being committed. Is he talking about people being dedicated? Maybe he means being dedicated to the word, being dedicated to studying. I'm sure he's not talking about being addicted. Okay? Okay? He's talking about people being faithful. People being faithful to the word. People studying. People spending time with the word. Maybe he's talking about people being faithful with their Bible. I'm sure he's not talking about people being addicted. I'm sure he's not promoting people being addicted. He's not promoting addiction of any form. I'm sure he's not doing that. I'm sure he's not doing that. Okay? Obviously, people need to spend more time with their word, but without being addicted to it, of course. We know that addiction can lead to other things. Okay? And so he's talking about addiction and as it relates to the word and as it relates to the Bible. Okay. Not so sure about the wording on that one, Coach. But okay, if your followers believe it, then so be it, Coach. But what else did he talk about? Oh, yeah? He talked about being committed. No, not being committed. What else did he talk about? Nothing else? He talked about teaching. Did he talk about teaching the kids how to spell through song? Oh, yeah? Is that some form of phonics? Maybe he was talking about teaching them phonics. Teaching them phonics through song? Oh, yeah? All right. And so that's how they learn how to spell? They only know how to spell one word? B-I-B-L-E? Well, I mean, that's a good word to know. But being at a first, second, or third grade level, first, second, or third grade reading level, supposedly, for those boys, they should know how to read a little bit more. They should have a vocabulary that's a little bit wider, a little bit larger than just the B-I-B-L-E. But at least he taught them some type of literacy as it pertains to vocabulary. But that's what my coach was up to. That's it. Okay. Well, all right. All right. Before I get to my reaction to the recent IAG Farms video where I guess Megan is talking about quitting teaching college kids in favor of teaching her own kids. Before I get to that, first I want to recognize you guys that have been active in the comments. Keep that commentary flowing. Keep that dialogue going both ways. I do have to recognize you heavy Tim supporters, you foolish Tim followers, I do have to recognize you guys. I see you guys in the comments. I hear you guys in the comments talking about captain, some captain you are. I hear you guys talking about hands off, touch not the anointed. I'm like, which anointed are we talking about? You talking about my coach, or you talking about y'all's pastor? And touch not the chosen one. I'm like, okay, hold on now. I do remember a movie where they had a golden child. Okay, I do understand about the chosen one, but you're referring to the chosen one as in it being my coach, Tim, being the chosen one. Chosen for what? Okay. At most, he was chosen to be a father to those kids, an effective father to those kids. Okay. At most, he was chosen to be a loving and a nurturing husband for his wife. At most, he was chosen to be a useful, to be a loyal son for Grandma Lily. Okay. At most, he was chosen to be a reliable, a trustworthy uncle for his nephews. At most, he was chosen for those things. But as far as being the chosen one, like, okay, a lot of wilding going on there, but okay. But I hear what you guys have been saying. Some of you guys are in the comments talking about, hey, you're not as good as Tim. Like, okay, I sure hope I'm not as good as Tim. I don't want to be in the same category. Okay. Like we said, I don't want to be in that same bucket with Tim. Well, you're not as good as Tim. Okay. Do you even have a property that you paid cash for? Captain, do you have a property that you paid cash for? And I'm like, oh, well, maybe you guys have me there. Because no, I do not have a property that I paid $20,000 cash for. Okay. In my neighborhood, in my neck of the woods, $20,000 cash is for a foreclosed property. It's for a distressed property. Okay. It's for a bank-owned property. Okay, that they're just trying to offload in my neck of the woods. Okay, so no, I do not own a $20,000 piece of property that's paid off. All right. You guys are wilding, always wilding in the comments. And as long as you guys are wilding, I'm going to keep on digressing. Welcome back to the end game, where today I'm going to provide my reaction to that recent IAG Farms video where Megan talks about not teaching college kids, and she's going to teach her own kids or do some homeschooling or what have you. I'm going to respond. I'm going to provide my reaction to that video here. Early in the video, Tim gives a sneak peek of the Prison to Perping podcast, or the Notcast, or the Nodcast. Still a snooze fest. Still a snooze fest, Coach. Whether you sneak peek it or not, Coach. But he gives us a sneak peek, and he's trying to set the scene with the horses in the background. And I'm like, okay, Coach, maybe you failed to realize that a podcast is supposed to be authentic, Coach. It's not supposed to be staged. Okay, Coach. But even the horse, he wants to have no part of it. Okay. A horse, they can smell funk from a distance. Certainly standing that close to you, they can smell it. Okay. Some people say they can smell a rat, but I wouldn't go that far, not as far as my coach is concerned, but they can smell it. And certainly if they get close enough to lick it, Coach, if they get close enough to lick it and get a taste of that rancid, that little rancid, that sourness on their tongue, certainly they would walk away, Coach. Okay. And of course, they would communicate to the other horses that beware, stay back 50 feet, beware. Okay. Nothing good can come of this. And so you show us a sneak peek of you trying to set up the stage with the horses, and the horses are like, we're going to pass on this. Oh, by the way, what are you doing on our property? All right. You're like, hey, Pastor Tim, we don't trespass on your property. We expect the same courtesy. What are you doing over here, Coach? Get back over the gate. Okay. Get back over the gate. But also in his sneak peek, he doubles down on the fact that people that see their videos, they want to be him. And I'm like, who are those people? Those would have to be the heavy Tim followers. Okay. Those would have to be the steady Tim supporters. Those are the only people that I can see that want to be like my coach. Who wants to go through the means? Who wants to go to the extents that my coach goes to in order to attain a certain financial gain? Who wants to do that? The answer is plenty of folk, but not everybody that's watching those videos are trying to be like you, Tim. You have to give them something to aspire to. Okay, they have to understand the road that you travel. Okay, they have to understand the means that you went to get to the end. And so they see the farm or the supposed farm, and they're like, hey, I would like to have a farm. Okay. They see the Resurrection Ranch, and they're like, hey, I would like to have some investment property. They see Grandma Lily, and they say, hey, I would like to have an employee someday. So they see the ends, okay, without remembering or without being aware of the means that we're going through to get to those ends. And so, yes, there are some people that want to be like you, but certainly most, if not all, of the reactors have no interest whatsoever in being anything that resembles you, Coach. But you talk about that. You do give a little bit of accolade to Megan. I do like it. Whenever you offer that, I like to see that. I like to hear it. And you talk about her being an educated woman, an educated woman that stumbled across an uneducated man, how she has a master's degree. You talked about that. You talked about the fact that apparently there's some women out there that would be jealous of her, okay? Although they may be somewhat envious of her educational accomplishments, certainly they would not envy her as far as where she's found herself in this day and age, okay? Going from being educated and having a career to being stuck, being stranded, being trapped, being locked down on a supposed farm, okay? I'm going to guess that there's only a small percentage of the fanatical Tim followers that will want to change places with Megan, okay? That will want to be strapped with those 4 boys, be strapped with the responsibility of raising them by herself, okay? Imagine that a married woman raising children as if she were a single mom, okay? As if raising 3 boys wasn't enough, okay? Somebody embedded a 4th child on her or in her. And so I'm not sure how many of the viewers will want to be strapped with 4 boys to raise on her own. I'm not so sure about that, Coach, okay? But Coach, I would encourage you to stay on the positive side of things, Coach. Okay, don't dwell in this jealousy issue, this imagined jealousy, this imagined hate complex that you have all to yourself. Okay, don't dwell in that, Coach. Okay, people can watch you. They can be critical of what they see. People can watch you. They can scrutinize what they observe. They can want better for Megan. They can want better for Grandma Lily. And certainly they can want better for those boys without trying to emulate you, without trying to change or to trade places with you, Coach. That's not the issue at all, Coach. But we hear you. We hear you, Coach.
P2P motivation. Here we go. I don't know about y'all, but all right, well, I hate to have this conversation because I know that there are multiple races of people that watch our channel. But this conversation has to be had, and I won't go too deep into it, but I'll just hit it on the surface level. But what we end up doing is we end up trying to pull each other down. Like I say, this happens in multiple cultures and multiple races. But, I'm just speaking from personal experience. People that look like me try to pull me down, try to pull our family down because they want to be us. You know what I'm saying? And it's impossible to watch what we're doing. It's impossible to watch these boys. It's impossible to watch me, somebody who, made some of the mistakes that I made and was able to come out of it. It's impossible to watch my wife, a well-educated Black woman, you know what I'm saying, has a master's degree in English and multiple minors in different things and is like winning and is raising her family.
Later, we are reminded by Megan that the boys, they don't get to eat. They don't get to eat, not a scrap, not a crumb. They don't get to eat until those farm chores are completed. Okay. Apparently, they are awakened at the break of dawn, and they're sent out to do those farm chores. Due to Megan prepping for her hernia surgery, they're sent out, they're cast out to do those farm chores by themselves in the wee hours of the morning, and they don't eat a scrap until they're completed. But Megan reminds us of that as if it's something for her to be proud of, as if it's something for those boys to be proud of. Some people say that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. So why in the world would those boys be sent out to work? Why would a 5-year-old, why would little Noah, a little 5-year-old, why would he be sent out to work before having his first meal of the day, without having his most important meal, some nourishment to give him the energy to complete those chores? But we're reminded where the priorities lay in that household. And as such, Megan is going to go about preparing breakfast for the boys. Of course, the boys are excited. Obviously, there's a little bit of, there's an undertone of anger. There's an undertone of anger as, where's the food? And of course, they're wondering why was the food not prepared while we were out there working? We can only assume that Megan wasn't even dressed for the day yet. We can assume that Megan wasn't even washed or ready for the day as the boys were sent out. And so as they were out there working, out there in the farm doing their chores, we can only assume that Megan was getting herself ready. And so that by the time they finished, then she would be ready to prepare their breakfast. Of course, we get to see that the boys are still sitting at that little baby table. And I know many viewers call it a card table, but I'm like, that's kind of small to be a card table. Okay, that's a table for toddlers. That's a table for toddlers. But the kids are crammed around that little card table / toddler table. And I mean, it's just a reminder for us. We shouldn't be surprised because, of course, Tim, he's prone to undersize things. He's prone to overestimate the requirements, underestimate the requirements, overestimate the capacity of things, just like he overestimates the capacity of that little mini cage that he has those dogs locked in for hours on end. Yet again, he underestimates the space that these boys need. Bear in mind that Tim Jr. is still growing. Okay, he's still growing. But Megan goes about preparing breakfast for the boys, and then they're going to move into their homeschooling. But Megan gets us set up for that. Hold on a second. I said that Tim Jr. was growing. Okay. Upon further review, Tim Jr.'s knees are already touching that table, that little mini toddler table. His knees are already crammed up in there. And I'm like, hold on, coach, all this money that you're spending on toys, coach, how expensive would it be for them to get a full size, an adult size card table? How expensive would it be for you, coach, let alone getting them a true dining table, coach? But holy moly, we see Tim Jr. crammed up under that table, scraping up his knees, getting those brush burns, stunting his growth. We're like, oh my goodness. Not so easy to watch. Not so easy. Now, of course, we noticed that not only is the table not big enough for Tim Jr., I'm guessing that Titus is coming up. I'm guessing that Titus, his knees are going to get close to scraping that table soon, if not already. But not only is the table too small for Junior, that table is too small for even the condiments. You can't even barely fit the jelly jar or the peanut butter jar on that table. You can barely fit cups for each boy on that table. You can barely fit the plates for the boys on that table. Okay? Let one of those boys move suddenly. Let one of those boys move their arms the wrong way. Let one of those boys stretch out just a little bit, and items are going scattered. They're scattering liquids. They're scattering juice or milk. They're scattering sausage or grits or biscuits. It's getting scattered on the floor. Holy moly. Talk about inadequate, coach. Coach, we know you have certain insecurities. Okay, coach, we know that you're an insecure individual. We can tell by your postings. But inadequate, coach, okay? I'm always hesitant to attach that label to a person, coach. All right? But, coach, that table is inadequate for those boys. It's been inadequate for months. And I'm starting to think that not only is the table inadequate, but your judgment would be approaching inadequacy at this point, coach. Not enough space, coach. Not enough room, coach. But now we see Megan, after the boys finish eating, they go about, I guess, getting themselves ready for homeschool. We see Megan also. She's also getting herself for homeschool, and she's getting the supplies ready for the boys. And she's going to go back in on this table because apparently this is the only work table that the kids have. This is the only work table. Bear in mind that in the homeschooling room, there's desks. There's 3 desks. Then there's the crib. Okay? And so there's not room for a work table in that homeschool room. And so this little bitty mini toddler card table is the only work table that they have on the interior of the house. And I'm like, hold on now, coach, with your infinite carpentry skills, coach, you could build a table that will be more suitable. You could build a table that will be more useful for those boys. Okay, if you did not have the funds, even though you're well off by your own estimation and by your own boasting, even though you're so well off, you could actually go and purchase a table. We know you could purchase a table. Okay, why would you not be able to purchase a table? But if you can't purchase a table, or you don't see it within the budget, or it's low down on the list, it's somewhere on the list, or there's a plan for it someday, go ahead and build them a table. You have plenty of scrap wood. We know you have plenty of scrap wood, coach. We know you have a tendency, you have a habit of collecting scraps, collecting trash. So we know you have plenty of scrap wood. Go ahead and build them a table, coach. Megan can barely put the supplies on that little table. Come on, coach.
What's up, IAG family? I have all the ingredients that I need for a fun experiment that I'm doing with the boys today. We have talked about solids, liquids, and gases, and what better way to experience solids, liquids, and gases than by making a float.
Shortly after, Megan talks about the project that the kids are actually going to be working on. She talks about it coming from a worksheet. Thank goodness it's from a worksheet, not from her own lesson planning, considering that she does not have ample time to put toward quality lesson planning for those 3 different grade levels of students that are known as her boys. But she has a worksheet to walk the kids through it. She talks about how they've been working on solids, liquids, and gas. And they're going to be working on some type of root beer float or some type of ice cream float that allow them to experience it. Of course, the boys are excited. I'm guessing they're more excited about the ice cream and the soda. I'm guessing they're more excited about that than they are about this supposed lesson. Not that they don't have ultimate confidence in their instructor. Not that they don't have ultimate confidence in their teacher, their mama. But I'm guessing they're more excited about the ice cream and the float. They're more excited about that than they are about Megan's ability to carry out the lesson, to carry out the learning targets associated with the lesson, and that the lesson is not just about having some treats and snacking, but she talks about that. Only question I have is whether this lesson is for 1st grade, whether it's for kindergarten, whether it's for 2nd grade, or for 3rd grade. Which level is this lesson for? Because that's going to dictate what the targets are for the learning for the students. And not just about them having fun, considering that you're going to use this as part of their homeschooling. What's the target on this? We'll just have to wait and see on that one, Coach. And teacher Megan.
So we actually have a really fun worksheet that's going to walk us through it. and it's going to be fun. The boys are super excited about it, and I'm just gonna run and get them there in homeschool doing some work that I've set them up with, but they are literally like so ready to get in here, and it'll be fun to see the Coke react with the ice cream. So basically we're making a float, and they'll experience solids, liquids, and gases through this float. But the most fun part will be that they will get to eat and taste their results. So I'm gonna go get them. I know they're probably listening right now, like, oh, ready to go, ready to go. So we're gonna get this experiment started.
I don't know how I missed this. In the title, Tim talks about how Megan left her career to come home and raise her children. And what are you trying to imply here, Coach? Okay. Just because she was a working mom, does that mean that she was not raising her children? Okay. There's plenty of working moms that raise children. It happens every day. It happens all the time. Okay. And considering your contributions to the household, Megan was working overtime as far as raising those children. If not for Megan raising those boys, who else was raising those boys? And so I wasn't so excited about you taking a dig at Megan as if she was distracted with her career and as if her boys wasn't being raised up to your standard because she had her career. She was raising those boys. Okay. So she may have quit her career or left her career, but it wasn't to raise those boys. It was really to be able to provide them with quote unquote full-time homeschooling. And from your perspective, it was to get her away from those civilians, get her away from those outside influences. So leaving her career, we know it wasn't about raising those boys. Okay. She was doing an admirable job of raising those boys prior to leaving her career. While she was gainfully employed, she was doing a respectable job on raising those boys. Coach, how dare you throw shade? How dare you throw shade at Megan for having a career, for getting an education, for being educated and applying that education toward a career, a fulfilling career at that, Coach. How dare you shame her? How dare you, Coach? A little bit later, we see them getting ready to start their experiment. Of course, we see Megan pulling up one of those little toddler chairs, straining her back in that hernia to try to get down to the kids' level, to try to instruct them on what they're going to be doing for the experiment. We couldn't hear what the dialogue was, what the pre-dialogue was. We can only surmise that she was reviewing the script with the boys. Because eventually she told the boys to go ahead and get their scoops of ice cream. After Junior took his scoop, he pretended like he was going to eat it. And then after Titus took his scoop, he pretended like he was going to eat it. And lo and behold, even after little Noah took his scoop, he feigned like he was going to eat his scoop of ice cream before the experiment. And I'm like, what a coincidence that all the boys were pretending like they were going to eat their scoop. Fortunately, Megan went over the script with them and said, hey guys, now after you take your scoop, I want you to pretend like you're going to eat it. And then you're going to wait and I'm going to tell you don't eat it. And then when you take yours, no, I want you to pretend like you're going to eat it. And I said, not yet. And you're going to pretend like, oh, you're anxious and you're going to wait. And I'm like, okay. So at least the boys successfully executed the script. My only question is, why do we have a script? Even on the education, even on the teaching, even on the learning of the boys. Why is there a script? Okay? Education is not a game. Education is not a film. True education is not a show. Okay, Megan? And now, Coach, I know that somewhere you're behind this script. I know you're behind the script, Coach. But, Coach, let those boys learn in peace. Let them get some true education, Coach. It's only for 2 or 3 hours out of the day where they have a chance. They have a shot at some education. They have a shot at some learning, Coach. Ease up on the script, Coach. Ease up.
No, this is the science experiment. This is the science experiment. All right, y'all, we now have the Coke poured in, and I'm going to give each of y'all a spoon. Pass that down, Tim. And we're going to open the ice cream and I'll let each of you at the same time now put a scoop of ice cream in our Coke. And we will see what is going to happen. Are y'all ready for this?
Yeah.
Are you ready for this? Okay. Gotta know. All right. Okay. Tim, I want you to get up and get your scoop. And then Titus and Noah probably can get theirs. All right, get that scoop of ice cream. Get the good scoop. All right. Don't eat it yet. Okay. Titus, get your scoop.
Can't wait to taste it.
Get a good scoop. Whoa, those big scoops. All right, Noah. All right, y'all. Okay.
Eventually they go ahead and they put the scoops of ice cream in with the Coca-Cola. And I'm like, okay. All right, Megan, I know it's a tall task to try to teach those 3 boys simultaneously. I know it's a tall task to try to give them quality lessons, quality instruction. I know it's a tall task, Megan. But holy moly, Megan. Once they put that ice cream in there and the boys are like, well, should we stir it up? We're waiting for some kind of reaction. And they put it in there and you're like, well, you see the cola and the Coca-Cola is the liquid. And you're like, well, the bubbles are the gas and the ice cream is the solid. And so you have the different forms of matter, solid, liquid, and gas. And we're like, okay, all right, Megan. Now, we do understand that not all lessons are successful. Some lessons are more successful than others. Okay, Megan? But in your pre-planning for this lesson, you should have reminded yourself that the gas was already in the soda. It's carbonated. The gas was already there, okay? Putting the ice cream into the cola did not create the gas, Megan, okay? Okay, if you wanted them to experience the gas, all they had to do was look in the bottle or drink a little bit of that soda, sip a little bit of that soda, and they would have noticed. They would have felt that gas. They would have felt that carbonation. And so it looks like this lesson was a failure, Megan, but I have to believe that you're doing your best, Megan. You're doing your best. I have to believe that. But it gets an F. Okay, Megan? Fortunately, you don't have to keep that F to yourself, Megan. Okay, you don't have to own that F all to yourself. Half of that goes to Tim, because I'm sure that he was behind this flawed lesson. In the grand scheme, he was behind this flawed lesson. I'm sure he wanted to put out the image of the boys having fun during their homeschooling. I'm sure he wanted to put out the image of the kids getting a well-rounded education, getting some project-based learning, getting some hands-on learning in their homeschooling, aside from the hands-on learning that they're getting during their farm chores. But coach, we have an F. You guys can split it however you want to split it. Half for my coach, half for Megan. Split it however you will. But there'll be an F on your personal report cards on this one. There'll be an F.
Wait. On the count of 3. Hold on, let me get close. Don't get it in there yet. On the count of 3, we're going to all put in our ice cream scoops. Okay, you ready? 1, 2, 3. What? Look at that.
Now we mix it
Look at that. It created.
again.
What did it create?
Gas.
It's kind of like frothy. You see those bubbles?
Yeah.
Right. So the bubbles are gas. The ice cream, you still have some ice cream in there, right?
Yeah. Can we mix it?
And that's liquid. I'm sorry, that's solid. The ice cream is solid. And then you have the Coke still, right?
Yeah.
And that's liquid.
Yes.
All right, so we did what we're supposed to do, right?
Yep, except for eating.
Okay.
Now, fortunately, Megan did a time lapse when it came time for the boys to note their observations. Clearly, when Megan was talking about write down what you observe about the textures and what have you, the boys had no clue. They had no clue as to what they supposedly learned during this lesson, during this experiment. So fortunately, she time lapsed that, and so that would give her plenty of time to tell the boys exactly what they should write on their worksheets. This gets back to that F, okay? And so during your lesson, and certainly after your lesson, after your experiment, there should be some type of assessment. Okay, so there's some work time that goes on, and the kids should have been able to fill out their own worksheets. Sure, if they needed help with the spelling, you could assist them with that. But they should have been able to read the instructions on those worksheets, and they should have been able to fill them out on their own. They should be making their own observations. And certainly a 5-year-old, a 7-year-old, and a 9 or 10-year-old would not have the exact same observations for the experiment. Okay? If you had a room full of 10-year-olds, even those 10-year-olds would not have the same observations on their worksheets. They would vary because the students notice different things from different perspectives. Okay? They have different interpretations. And so there's no way in the world, Coach. And Megan, there's no way in the world. Okay? I do understand that they're getting a uniform lesson regardless of what their age is. They're getting a uniform lesson regardless of what their grade level is. They're getting the same lesson regardless of what their aptitude is. They're getting the same lesson regardless of what their special needs may be. But there's no way in the world that they're going to have the exact same observations on this experiment. Okay? There's just no way. There's simply no way.
So here are my questions. Let's fill out our sheet. Let's observe the root beer. What is like the color, the texture? The root beer is solid, liquid, gas. All right.
Black.
So let's observe. Here's your spoon. You can put it in here. You put your spoons in there. And you gotta wait a little bit of time. We gotta wait a little bit of time.
Like yeast.
Oh yeah, it does look like yeast. That's what yeast does when you proof it. That's exactly right. It forms bubbles too.
This looks so good.
Okay, so I want y'all to fill out y'all sheet. And then we'll enjoy some actually this is Coke float. Some Coke float. Okay, so we're going to record what we see in this Coke float, okay?
You mean like record on video?
No, I mean record here on your paper. We're going to write down our observations, okay? So it asks us about the color, the texture, the hardness, the flexibility. So you need to write down what you observe about the root beer. I'm sorry, this is going to be Coke, okay?
So do a writing in complete sentences?
Sure, but you don't have to because we're just taking notes right now, okay?
A bit later, Megan instructs the boys that they're going to be able to create their own floats, and so she brings up mugs or cups for the boys. And I'm like, yet another item to clutter that mini table, that toddler table. Yet another item or items to clutter it. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So we're reminded as we look around, as they're pouring their soda, and as we look around, we're reminded that what a sardine can this single wide is. What a sardine can. Coach, some coach you are. Cramming these boys onto this mini table. Cramming these boys into this quasi kitchen, quasi dining room, coach. Some coach you are. It's a sardine can. It's crammed and jammed. We have walkers for little Benjamin. We have step stools. We have this little table. We have other toys. We have water bottles. It's jammed and crammed, coach. Jammed and crammed. There's a rumor that you have eyes on Grandma Lily's double wide. There's a rumor, coach. Say it ain't so, coach. Okay? I understand that you're working on that porch, or you're planning on working on the porch. Within the next several months, you're going to start on that porch. And I guess the plan would be to move this homeschooling outdoors. The plan would be to move the dining outdoors, coach. But in the meantime, while you're prioritizing these tools, while you're prioritizing these cattle haulers, these side-by-sides, these zero-turn mowers, these augers, while you're prioritizing all that stuff, okay, the basic needs of your boys educationally are going unmet. The basic needs are going unmet, coach. Okay, while you're prioritizing all these other things, all these other trinkets, coach, the basic needs of your family are going unmet, coach. Okay, we're talking about having 5 or 6 people crammed up in that single wide, coach. There ain't no room, coach. There ain't no room. Come on, coach. What does the Bible say about priorities, coach? What does it say, coach?
Bigger and bigger, Mama.
Yes, it is. It just keeps filling up. All right, y'all, guess what? I'm going to let you all make your own individual float, okay?
Low.
Yeah, Coke float. That's what they call it. It's when you mix ice cream into the Coke. Okay, so I'm gonna let you pour a little bit of Coke in your pour a little bit of Coke in, and then I'll get the ice cream, and y'all can take one scoop, a big scoop, or however much you want of ice cream, and dip it in. Okay.
You pour in the Coke and we put our ice cream. I want to pour in the Coke.
Okay, yeah, I'll pour in your Coke for you.
You got this. Don't spill the whole thing.
Yeah, don't move it while he's pouring. Okay, about half full. Okay, that's good. That's good.
Can I get it?
Yes.
Let me put some of it real quick.
All right.
It's difficult. It's raining on Tilka.
Those bubbles.
Yeah, and that popped up. Well,
All right.
Up and
So, Tim, can you actually pour Noah a little bit of Coke for me?
And what to do is scoop that ice cream and eat it. Me too.
Well, that's it. I can't take no more. It's like that single wide that Tim is so proud of. Okay? It's like that single wide that us viewers want to have. We want that single wide for ourselves. We want that sardine can, that jammed sardine can. Jammed with a kitchen, jammed with freezers, deep freezers, jammed with juice bottles and water bottles and mini tables. We want that. We envy that. We envy that lifestyle. Okay, but I can't take no more. Just like that space can't take anymore. Can't cram anything else into that space, coach. It's jammed, it's packed. Okay, but just like that space, that single wide can't take anymore. Okay, that single wide can't stand for little Benjamin to grow up. There's not even enough space for Benjamin to grow up. Okay? Benjamin, you may have to stay a baby for life. But anyway, I can't take no more. That's it. That's it for my reaction to that recent IAG Farms video where Tim talks about Megan leaving her career so that she could raise the boys. And I have to assume that he's referring to the big old boy, okay? Because she was already raising the little boys. The only boy that wasn't getting raised because Megan was spending 5 to 8 hours at work out at the university. The only boy or the only child that wasn't getting raised was the big old boy, the big old child, my coach. But that's it. That's it for my reaction to that video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Chop it up in the comments. Burner Tim, I saved some space for you. I expect to see you guys, you and your heavies there as usual. I want to shoot out some love to my current subscribers. Thank you for showing me that love. For those viewers that have not yet subscribed, please consider subscribing so that we can continue to shine that light. Until next time.